back to the Act2 podcast, a podcast for the real-life working screenwriter. I'm Tasha Hugh.
And I am Josh Hallman.
And we are Act2, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter, of which this podcast is just one of the things we do. So thank you for joining us here. If you're interested in any of the Q&As that we do over Zoom once a month, please head over to our Patreon, sign on to the co-EP level. It's $10 a month. And you can join us for a Zoom at the end of the month, where this month we are going to be talking about ensemble pieces via Little Miss Sunshine. How do you write them? How do you write them so all the characters shine and have arcs and it's meaningful, even though you're juggling all of these characters? And that's going to be a fun one. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time. If you don't want to do that because you don't like having fun, that's okay. You can DM us with questions and topic suggestions. In fact, our topic today comes from a suggestion from one of you, so I appreciate that. And you can do that at ActTwoWriters@gmail.com, all spelled out, or on our Instagram at ActTwoWriters. I'm Story Thursday on Instagram.
And I'm Josh Hallman on Instagram. Hey!
Hello, good morning. I have things I'm excited to tell you about today.
I feel like we just jumped right into it.
Yeah, my excitement level's high.
You can. All right, we doing this week in writing?
Yeah.
This week in writing.
All right, this is a story of why I love Los Angeles with a passion. The other week, I went to breakfast with my family, so I go and grab my jacket, and I see this golf cart kind of like 2 spots over, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a cool golf cart. So I go over, and then I see on the side, it says Blumhouse, and I was like, holy cow, Blumhouse, this is awesome. And it had Blumhouse written all over it.
And it wasn't just a golf cart, right? It like almost looked like you sent a picture. It's almost like a mini Jeep looking golf cart.
Right. I don't know. I'm just calling it a golf cart because I actually don't know what is in between like a car and a golf cart.
It's that. It's whatever that is.
But it was open, and it was like what are those dune buggies? Is that like I can't even explain it. So I'm like, oh my God, Blumhouse, I'm gonna go snap a photo for Levinson. And so I pull my phone out and I snap a photo of it. And right as I do, I hear a voice behind me talking to somebody on the phone, and hey, this, and instantly I heard it, and I was like, oh no, that's Jason Blum's voice. And I turn around, and he's looking at me, snapping a photo of his golf cart. I'm like, oh my God. So I like put my phone away, and then I start walking back towards where my family is, and he just happened to walk past me, and I said, hey, that's an awesome golf cart. Sorry, I hope you're okay. I took a photo of it, and I hope that's cool. And he's like, yeah, totally cool. I was like, oh, sweet. I was like, well, it's awesome. And he said, yeah, you want to drive it? And I was like, I said, what? And he said, yeah, you can take it. You want to drive it? And I was like, wait, seriously? And he said, yeah, just take it around. And I was like, well, let me find my family, because I think my daughter might want to be involved with this too. As it turns out, Nicole and Amelia, my daughter, they walk around the corner right as this is happening. And I'm like, oh, there they are. Okay, let's go. And so he's like, yeah, I'll walk you over there. So, and he said, the keys are just in there. And I was like, the keys are where? He's like, they're on the seat. You just grab the keys. And I was like, okay. So we walk up, Amelia hops in. He's like, yeah, hop in. It's all electric. You can just take it around. And I was like, well, where should I take it? He's like, yeah, just drive it around. And I was like, drive it where? He said, just drive it. And I said,
cut to Josh on the 405.
And I was like, well, how long should I drive it for? And he's like, as long as you want, just don't steal it. And I said, okay, I guess I'll drive it. And then where are you going to be? And he said, yeah, I'll be around. Just bring it back here. And I was like, are you sure? And he said, yeah, just leave the keys. And I was like, what is happening right now? And then he gets on his phone. He was like, okay, yeah, see you later. Have fun. So he just walks away. And then I end up taking his dune buggy golf cart, and I drive it around Santa Monica for like 25 minutes. And then I was like, oh man, I hope that parking spot's still there, because if it's not, I'm gonna have to park it somewhere else. So I'm telling my family, I'm like, we have to go back to the parking spot. I don't know what's happening right now. So we drive back to the parking spot, and I park it, and I throw the keys in the front seat, And then I walk away and I was like, that was really crazy. And as I was walking, I was getting ready to text to you and Dave. And I see him walking like down the street and he sees me and he just yells, "Did you have fun?" And I was like, "I had a blast." And then he like comes up to my daughter and was like, "Did you have a good time?" And she's like, "Yeah, thank you." And I was like, "Okay." And he just kept walking. He's like, "See you later." I was like, "See you later." Tasha, this is why I love Los Angeles.
I know. And these things always happen to you. Wait, was this like an enclosed area or like were
No,
you literally driving around Santa Monica?
I was driving around Santa Monica.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then I was like walking, almost getting hit by cars because I'm like texting you guys. I was like, this is the most random thing that's happened to me in a long time. And then I left a script on his seat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding about
Slipped
that.
a Dave Levinson special. That would have been pretty awesome.
I left an
Actually.
iPad. Could you imagine?
You should have driven to like a Kinko's, printed your horror father-daughter story out, left it.
I would have been like, here are 4 log lines. Let me know if you want to talk about them. Anyway, it was awesome.
You have the craziest stories. No wonder you love LA so
I
much.
freaking love LA. And I'll tell you what, he was so nice. I actually was like, I'm going to go watch a Blumhouse movie right after this.
Just to
That's how
honor
nice
him.
he was. He was great. Because I don't write in that space. I've actually never met him. I've met people who work there, but I've never pitched anything there. I've never met, so there was no reason I would exist in that world. So anyway.
I shouldn't have let you go first because none of mine are going to be this cool. You should have gone last.
I mean, have fun. Let's hear yours.
Okay, well, so I will be on a week-long trip to an Airbnb to just write for a week. Just me and nature.
Let's go.
So I don't know. I've never done this before, like for this long with the intent to produce a very specific thing from it. I'm trying not to set my expectations to like, I'm going to finish a script.
I was going to ask. What are the expectations here?
I don't know. I just want to get far into it. I just want to understand, maybe just understand the script. Maybe just, like I would love to at least write to the midpoint. I would like to just really, really get as far as possible in this thing.
So you have the idea.
Yeah.
You have an outline.
No.
You have beats of anything. I'm sure you have an opening.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I have a vague understanding of like the beats I need to hit.
Okay.
But I don't know how I get to any of them. And so I don't know. I want to talk to you because like I don't know if I should bother writing an outline or in this particular case, because it's special, because it's just a week with my brain in silence writing, do I just go for it? And do I bring back that love of just wild writing, basically, and whatever comes out is like the heart of what it is, and then revise it later?
I think you kind of do that. I think you just get
Yeah.
things down on paper.
Yeah, just have fun.
Just have fun.
Yeah.
Old school.
I think old school have fun.
I do think it's worthwhile to have like certain things sketched out, but not.
Yeah. Maybe I should do like, I'm bringing the big pads of paper, of course, always.
Yeah.
If you listen to the podcast, you know what I'm talking about. And then I think I'll do like, here's the, break into 2, and here's the
Yeah.
maybe the fun of the premise, the midpoint, the low point, the break into 3, and the climax and resolution. Like have those maybe planned out a little bit.
I think that's a good idea.
Maybe I'll also write just like some like cool things that I want in it, or it's kind of like a action drama, I guess. So like what are I know what the cool action beats are, but like what are the cool dramatic beats? Maybe I need to work those out first, and then I'll just go.
I have faith. I think you're going to crush it.
Okay. Josh, I want to tell you something that I think will blow your mind because it blew my mind.
Tell me.
I want to give a shout out to Reese Givens, who works at Legendary and has been listening to the Act 2 podcast since she was in college.
Damn.
Reese, we're so happy that you are in the industry and you're working in it and you're living your best life. And just the phrase that someone has been listening to us since college blew my mind.
Thank you for listening. I love hearing that. It gives me life when anybody tells us they've been listening to the podcast, or college students will even write. I get really excited.
Yeah, me too. And she's doing it, and it's so cool. And congratulations, Dries. Okay, my last one. Do you remember at the beginning of the year when we did our goals? I was like, one of my goals is to learn new things. And you're like, okay, Tasha, you try that every year and you never do. Well,
Hmm.
this year, what I did is we decided to, my husband and I, to set a PowerPoint party. Have you heard of these? You've heard of these, I could tell.
I have not. It's just like a PowerPoint. Oh my God. Okay, let's hear it.
Where we invited our friends over to give a 5-minute pitch on something they are passionate about that we don't know that they're passionate about. So, like a surprise passion that they have. And it forced me to have a deadline of when I would learn this thing that I set out to learn, which was about sauropods, dinosaurs, long necked dinosaurs.
No way. So then you deliver a PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah, I'm delivering a PowerPoint presentation tomorrow evening with friends about sauropods.
Is this what you guys do on the weekends?
This is a good time, man. It's a good time.
Okay. Where's it going to be set up?
Currently in our dining room, possibly backyard, if I can convince Paul to set it up.
Do you have all the tech ready?
Of course, yeah. We have a projector and, an HDMI cable that will hook up right up to everyone's laptops.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sauropods. Okay, long neck dinosaurs. Okay.
Does Amelia want to come to my presentation?
I feel like you're going to be in a scenario one day, like 10 years from now, where they're like, there's a bomb in this building, and we need someone who knows about sauropods to help dismantle it. You're gonna be like, what?
I got you. Do you need to know how many tons of feces they produced every day?
Oh
Done.
my! How do people know this
Because it'll
stuff?
be like Die Hard, and there'll be some kind of quiz involved with how the bomb is,
Right. It's
Yeah.
like the beginning of Scream.
Yeah. That's it. Those are my this week's in writings.
That's incredible. I actually would love to know how this PowerPoint party goes.
I bet you I'm going to learn some interesting facts about
think you will, too.
people's things that I never knew.
So you actually inspired me. Can I tell you something I'm going to do?
Yes.
I was thinking of taking piano lessons. And then when we're somewhere one day, I'm just going to break out like some kind of song. I don't know. Just start playing the piano.
Joshua Hallman.
Yeah.
The shock factor
Yeah.
is so worth this
Yeah.
secret.
I think so.
Because I'm sure you sometimes go to restaurants where they have just like a grand piano just like,
Absolutely.
sitting to the side.
And I dream about, could you imagine if I just walked up to this thing and just opened it and just started to play?
Ugh, but the ultimate boss move. So cool.
You know what? Mark my words. I'm going to learn to do this.
I can't
My
wait.
writing career is done. I'm gonna focus on this now. But I'm gonna learn to do this, and I actually know someone who can teach me, and
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna talk to him about it. So you actually inspired me because I was like, maybe I should learn one thing. The year's like halfway done. I should probably learn it now.
You should probably learn it now. Yeah, now's the time. Okay, let's get into today's topic, which, as I said, comes to us from a listener who said they are deep into rewrites themselves and they feel like they are always just rewriting. But then they asked, how is rewriting different when you are a professional screenwriter? So Josh, I want to ask you, what's your process when you are writing for yourself from like writer's group notes or even just going back through your own scripts by yourself? And how do you feel like, just sort of like globally speaking, that differs when you are addressing notes on things that you're actively developing with people?
I think I'm a little bit more laissez-faire with the notes where I can take my time. When I do my writer's notes or writer's group notes, I'll be like, you know what, I'm going to let this marinate, and then I'll think about it in like a day or two. I'm going to work on something else. The urgency, although I tell myself the urgency is there, it's impossible for me not to feel like there is less urgency as opposed to when you're working on something else and you have to deliver notes to something. And then if it's something else where I have to deliver a script somewhere or just get notes back to or turn in a rewrite to something, I'm working on it like pretty actively. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree. Generally speaking, I think the biggest overall difference for me when I'm rewriting a spec for myself is that my rewrites typically feel like You're almost like a sculptor with a slab of marble. You're just like, I'm just gonna work at this and try and find the thing underneath.
Yeah.
I'm getting closer and closer to my story. But
Yeah.
then in a rewrite for hire, it's about what makes the most producible movie for these people that I am working for. And when I'm writing for me, it's how can I make this the most me script that I could possibly make it? And then for hire, it's like, how can I make this the best functioning movie? Which you'd imagine those things would be like intersected. But really, I mean, like we're talking about with this spec, I'm going to try to write over. Not try to write, that I'm going to write over the course of this week. I'm not going to be thinking about those like logic things necessarily, or is this a trailer moment? Like those things that get in your head when you start to write for hire, I'm not going to be thinking about those. I'm just going to write the thing that is the most inspired for me, and then eventually it will get cut back down to this functioning movie thing. But that's sort of like just generally speaking what the difference is. But I want to get more specific into like different situations. So let's talk about rewriting of someone else's script. Let's say that you get hired to come on and fix a script that another writer has written. And I once overheard a writer when I was an assistant at Universal say that when he was brought in to write a script, all the execs were like, oh, please save us. The script is so bad. We don't know what to do with it. And he was so gracious because the other writer who wrote that script was not in the room. He didn't have to say this, but what he said was, I'm just the relief pitcher. I'm just
Mm,
here. Like that person has done so much good work that it is allowing me to come in and relieve them. So like, don't put down that other writer. But
sure.
that's what you're here for. You're here to be a relief pitcher, to get the script over the line and get it greenlit because the other writer, for whatever reason, maybe they were tired, maybe they were given wrong directions, whatever the case might be, was unable to get it there. Now, in these cases, it's it's always a case by case basis, which makes this job very hard because producers and studio execs, they may have had this project in development for years. I've worked on things that had been in development for a dozen years, and that means that the execs have faced problems that prevented it from getting greenlit that they are very keenly aware of. And so they're going to come to that meeting with you to say, yeah, you can't do like XYZ through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like you can't do all of these
Hmm.
things because we tried it and it didn't work. So your job is not only to hear what their grievances are with the script, but also to take a step back, look at the script for what it is, and bring your writer ability to it to say, actually, like this is how I see it moving forward within the framework that I think that you need. But also if I need to go outside that framework, I need to feel comfortable pitching that to you. So essentially, you're a problem solver, right? And the problems with the script could be budgetary. Maybe it's just too big and they need it to be smaller while still being just as fun and just as cool. So that's a problem you have to solve. Maybe it's the style is wrong, the tone is wrong. Maybe it needs a character pass or a comedy pass. Or I've definitely had jobs where it's like, we just need a female voice because a bunch of men wrote this script about women. So, like, whatever it is, you have to come in with a different hat on depending on the needs of that particular script. The difference is in this case when you're writing on someone else's script, you have to solve problems. You have to give the producers or the studio executives the movie that they want, and also you have to give them the movie that they need. And I make that distinction because, as we all know, they could tell you what they think it is. What the problem is, they could tell you they think it is, but when you read it, you have your own writer's instincts about actually the problem I think is this, or you think the solution is X over here, but really it's going to be Y over here. And you need to be able to give them the script that they need. But ultimately your job is to get this thing greenlit and conquer whatever hurdles they have experienced prior to prior to this. So it's just a completely different skill, though underneath, of course, it's all the same writing, but gosh, so much different than you just writing on your own and rewriting based on writers group notes.
Yeah, we have an acquaintance that you and I both know, and I remember talking to him, and he would always just say that he knows this, that he has the ability to kind of push something over the line, and he can get that rewrite from a place that was, oh, this script's good, to a place of this script is a movie.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I am developing more scripts with other writers, and I totally agree with you. You can't really know until you have the experience of having made things, because then you start to see, oh, that scene that I thought would work on paper doesn't actually work once you've produced it. It's just not as clear as it was in my head. And that means I need to do this now in order to make that idea clearer. And you just start to realize how different it is from the writing that happens on the page to the writing that you actually see and hear from actors and actually like take in on a screen. It's just a different thing. And that's partly what makes this business so exciting, is that collaboration between those two steps, right? And so I have definitely found with writers who have not had their stuff produced or have not themselves produced things, that there is just a lack of knowledge, not for any sort of fault on their writing abilities, but just on experience, that they can't see that this scene is very confusing. And logically, of course, I understand it. I'm a smart person. I get it when I read it, but there's no way an audience is going to understand it. So you really need to completely redo how this scene functions so that an audience will understand. And that takes a rewriter years of experience to figure out, but it's fascinating.
I feel like, as you were saying this, I think this is why it's probably helpful if you can get your hands on an early draft of a script and then a script that was produced, and then you read both. And then when you're reading the second one that was produced, you're watching the movie or TV series or whatever it is. So you can kind of see what the scenes look like and even how that has changed. I think that would probably be the most helpful thing to do.
Yeah, in terms of being able to educate yourself without the experience, absolutely. And I think the earlier the script you can get, the better,
Oh,
because
yeah.
of that exact thing. You can see how someone either helped them or another writer came in to get the script to that point. And yeah, as you're saying, like you also see how changes get made actively on set, which is what brings me to my second rewrite option, which is when you're in production. And this is all like the super practical stuff. And it's usually like, how do I make things make sense logically now? Um, for example, like this now has to be set inside instead of my characters running away from bad guys in a forest. How do I make that interesting while moving it inside? Because we can't shoot outside now, it's too expensive. Or how do I cut 10 pages at the very last minute when, as we all know, you cut one page and suddenly everything falls apart? Well, now you have to cut 10 pages. This is how to take notes from an actor, how to take notes from a producer that they probably should have given you 5, 6 months ago, but now they're just giving it to you right now, and you need to get that done overnight in your hotel room. This is maybe your lead actor quitting or had to go to rehab or something, and now you have to write them out or rewrite them entirely and still somehow make sense of everything. So I think that the rewrite in production is a lot of panic. It's a lot of very tight deadlines, and it's all problem solving at that point. And what I like about this part of the job is it really is something that only a writer can do, because you have to be a problem solver, yes, but you have to do it in a really creative way. Because again, you cut 10 pages, there are so many holes now in this script. There's so many connections that aren't being made. So now you have to put this really creative hat on that's like, okay, well, now that I've taken all of that out, how do I creatively find a way to make all of that stuff that was in those 10 pages still make sense, still sing, have those characters arc, doing all those things in a shorter period of time. So it's a really like it's a really hard hat to wear, but it is also very fun. There's something cool about the puzzling of it all that I really enjoy, but it stresses me out even talking about it.
I know but you're so good at that. You're good at like taking notes, number one, but also figuring out those problems where exactly that. Hey, we need to cut 10 pages. And you do a good job of like taking a step back and focusing on that. That's a skill.
It's a
Man.
skill, but it's also a learned skill. Like I feel like a lot of mistakes were made in previous things that I have made that was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I get what this is, what this job is, what this rewrite requires, and it's just experience. The last sort of big rewrite you might do professionally is rewriting of your own script, right? Like Josh sells his script and you've done your like me pass, as it were, one that is, I think, like the most you that it could possibly be. But now you need to take someone else's notes. You need to include other people's thoughts. And, maybe it's not commercial enough. Maybe the logic doesn't quite work for them. Maybe the character is this or it's that, and it should be that or this. Maybe they genuinely have notes that will actually make this story better that just did not occur to you when you were alone in your Airbnb. But regardless, the script is no longer yours. It's like ours.
Yeah.
And I think, you can still say no, you can still hold your ground on things. But one example that came to mind was I recently spoke with a writer who had a show produced, and as she was developing it with the studio, they had so many changes. And she's like, okay, like that's fine. I can let go of that. That doesn't affect my vision and the thing that I care about. I can change that. Yes, no problem. But then they started going after one of her main characters, and she was like, absolutely not. I'll change his name, because they wanted her to change the name of the character. She's like, sure, absolutely. But I'm not going to change the essence of who this character is. And she dug her heels in. And it turned out to be for the best, because now that the show is out, so many people come up to her afterwards and is like, I relate to this character so much. Thank you so much for having a character like this on screen. And that's just one thing that is a really great example of how you need to change for the studio with this thing that you love. It was an original thing that she created. But how you also need to hang on to why it was so important to you and why it was so good and why they bought it to begin with. But what I like about this kind of rewrite, I hate it and I like it, is that it feels like we're all working together to make the most producible script. And it's like an all hands on deck kind of thing, which can be overwhelming because there's so many opinions and there's a lot to figure out. But it also feels like we're all in the shit together. And I feel like you and I constantly have conversations where you're always in the shit with people on doing this exact kind of rewrite.
Yeah. It's such an interesting thing too, because, you find yourself in this position where you get so excited. Someone wants to work with you on your script, and you start taking all of their notes. And we talk about this all the time, but it's very easy to just do their notes. And so with your friend, it's great that she could kind of draw the line and say, yeah, no. And you have to do it in such a way that it has to make sense to the people giving you the notes, and has to, where you're not coming off as some aggressive individual. I mean, these are the things I think writers think about. You don't want to come off as difficult, for lack of a better term, where you're like, nope. So you have to kind of give and take with, okay, I can do this one, but I really don't think that's such a good idea. But it is hard to rewrite yourself.
That just actually reminded me of a story I once heard, a story that I was told recently from an executive, and she's talking about different writers that she's had experiences with on these very things, like scripts that were their own that they've now are developing for the screen. And she said there are two kinds of writers that she's had, and one is the angry writer who she'll give notes to, and she's so terrified to give them notes because they will legitimately rage. They will curse, they will throw fits, they will just get so angry. And oftentimes by the end, they do the note and they're like, oh, you were right, it was better. But their first reaction is anger for this exact reason. Like they're just so close to the material, it's theirs. And then they give it to a studio and like, they deign to give me notes. Fuck them, And then she talked about another kind of writer that she often has, which is the sad writer. Writers who get notes and they are just so sort of traumatized by it. They become so depressed. They start to spiral because, it means they don't like me. They don't like it. They're never going to work with me again. And it's a just massive insecurity kind of coming out spilling out into the relationship. And she was saying, like, part of me was like, I feel both of those. I have like an amalgamation of kind of both of those, never to this extreme that she was talking about. But what this executive was kind of impressing upon me was that no matter what, she's not ever mad at anyone when they give her a script and she's giving notes. So this person who gets angry and defensive, like she's never mad at you. She loves the script. Of course she loves it because she bought it and she's so excited to make it. So to get defensive is kind of like off as well, but like to get sad, she loves you and she loves the script. So of course she doesn't hate you. And I was telling her, I was like, whenever I get notes from a studio exec, I always feel like they're just being nice. Like they really they don't know how to tell me that they don't want to make my show. And she's like, Tasha, if they don't want to make your show, they're not going to make your show. They're going to tell you that. They're not going to give you notes thinking like, oh, this is just my way of like soft passing on her.
You know, you're reminding me of a story. I had worked with someone on a script, and then I worked with the producer again, and he was giving me notes, and I remember I was just kind of thinking like, and he actually stopped me and said, you know, you're usually a lot more like, I don't think he said agreeable, but he's like, usually you're a little like happier about, or like you seem like you're kind of off put. I can't remember what he said and my attitude towards it, but I was very agreeable early on, and I still am like, okay, cool, I'll listen to you, and I've figured out how to kind of take notes a little bit more.
It's interesting to get an executive's opinion because they actually hate giving us notes.
Right.
They are always so nervous. They're afraid you're going to hate them. There's a lot of insecurity on their end too, and we don't think about that. we just think you're trying to destroy all my hopes and dreams.
It's a balance.
It's a balance.
Do you care? When you get notes, are you just like, are you aware of your response?
Yes, I'm very aware of my response. Because at the end of the day, the immediate emotion I feel is not the real one. It's just a reaction.
Yeah.
And it could be anger, it could be frustration, it could be embarrassment and shame and guilt and humiliation. Like, it's all of those things, but the face you put forward is always like, that's great, thank you. Yeah, I'll totally consider that. That's really interesting, because that's the reality, is it is probably great and you will consider it. And so I put on the real face, but like inside I'm just like, I would rather scratch my eyes out than hear you talking to me right now with these notes.
I just spoke to a guy 2 days ago, actually, who gave me some notes on something, and I said, okay, yeah, no, I'll definitely I'll consider that. And he said, okay, that's Hallman talk for I'm not going to listen to any of these, and you don't give a shit. And I was like, yeah, that actually is correct.
That tracks.
And so because I've known this guy for a long time. Anyway.
Yeah, I can see it in you as well. Writers group, we know the notes you're going to take and not take.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. Well,
do you know that from me as well? Can you tell?
Yeah, of course. Sometimes I can see when I'm saying something to you and it's not landing, and I'll just like stop. Just blah, 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 blah. Like I'll just mumble off. So I'm like, she's not gonna take this fucking note anyway. But you have to say it because you never know. Maybe something will spark in there.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm not offended. It's just
you shouldn't be.
No.
I love all your notes. I want you to give all of them.
Same.
Even when they're stupid. All right, quote of the day. The first draft is just you telling yourself the story. Terry Pratchett. Please remember to rate and subscribe. Follow us at ActTwoWriters for more awesome writing stuff. You can follow me, Tasha, at Story Thursday on Instagram.
And I'm Josh Hallman on Instagram.
And as always, the Act Two podcast is a production of Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter. This episode was edited by Paul Lundquist.